In this episode, hosts Michelle Hanson and Olivia James are joined by Ryan Yohe as they discuss book number 5, The Wrong Number, which was released March 1990. And here's Yohe with the synopsis.
Don't listen to the stories they tell you about Fear Street. Wouldn't you rather explore it yourself and see if its dark terror and unexplained mysteries are true? You're not afraid, are you? Please come quickly. You're my only hope. It begins as an innocent prank when Dina Martinson and her best friend Jade Smith make sexy phone calls to the boys from school. But Dina's half-brother Chuck catches them in the act and threatens to tell their parents, unless the girls let him in on the fun. Chuck begins making random calls, threatening anyone who answers. It's dangerous and exciting. They're even enjoying the publicity and the uproar they've caused. Until Chuck calls a number on Fear Street. To his horror, Chuck realizes he has called the wrong number.
Oh no.
The jokes are over when murder is on the line. The murderer knows who they are and where they live, and they have nowhere to call for help.
You and Olivia are so great at reading the synopsis. Do you do like any voice acting or anything?
I dabble a little bit.
A little bit? So please tell us everything about you.
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, let me say I'm super excited that I was asked to join a Fear Street podcast because I ate all of these books from probably too young of an age all the way up to, I still look through some in my bookshelf at home.
That's awesome.
But otherwise, a little bit about me. I am an actor, voice actor. I am an athlete. I am an advocate for LGBTQIA folks, animals, and passionate about travel.
So most importantly, how old were you in March 1990?
I was, okay, so let's do the math. Born 84, April 84 is right before, so it's like the 5-6 range.
Okay, great. Were you reading Fear Street at age 6?
No, I had probably, I had some neighbors that were right about the Fear Street age, probably like 11, 12, 13. And I had probably started to see some of the books on their shelves, especially when I had one that was a babysitter of mine. But no, I had not. I definitely went through the Goosebumps route first. And then once I started seeing more of the Fear Street books on library shelves, then I was like, gimme, want to read. All right, this book starts with a prologue. Some notes on the prologue. We have a third-person voice and a mysterious he who is plotting a scheme. Now, we don't really know what the scheme is or who it's meant for, but he mentions that he's schemed before. He's going to have to take care of it himself. Something he's learned from his parents. It seems like there might be some type of abandonment issues at play. Also adding that it's not his fault, that he's always getting into trouble and someone is going to have a deadly surprise. It's just a matter of time.
And that takes us directly into chapter 1. And for chapter 1, it seems that we are in the first week in September, which is interesting because for the previous book, Missing, we were in the month of November.
I'm assuming this actually takes place 2 months before, because otherwise, I mean, we're trying to figure out how long Corey and Lisa are going to be at the school. Mm-hmm. We're figuring they got to be juniors now, right? Yeah. They were freshmen in the first book.
Right.
So, yeah, I can't imagine they're going to skip 10 months. We have to, I'm going to assume.
That's what I assume, too, that it just went back 2 months. And so we know nothing about what has happened in Missing. There's no cult or anything. Right. So in chapter 1, it's the first week in September. It's Saturday night, and friends Dina Martinson and Jade Smith are in the bathroom gelling their hair with Jell-O. School hasn't started yet. Maybe it will after Labor Day. That's kind of the vibe that I was getting.
Which is kind of late for those days.
I think so, too.
I mean, it starts even earlier now, but we always started at least a week before.
Okay. I went to a Catholic school, and we started like mid-August. Yeah. Because, you know, we got a day off anytime like a saint sneezed. So we had to like...
I remember.
We had to make up those days.
Yep.
Also, let's make a note. Jade is an Auburn, a red-haired individual at Fear Street.
Right.
Probably number 4 to 6 of the Auburn characters we've been introduced to so far in the series.
So Dina's half-brother, Chuck, is going to be living with Dina. He's a senior and is transferring to Shadyside. He's repeating his senior year because he was expelled at a neighboring school last year. Basically, he's in and out of trouble a lot. Jade spots Dina's phone that she was gifted by her dad, and it's not a cell phone, it's an actual landline telephone. Her dad is the vice president of the phone company, and employees get the latest gadgets. So the phone is considered to be high tech because it can program and save phone numbers, just like speed dial. It has a hold button, and it's a speakerphone. So it's not your average rotary phone, although that's what's on the cover of the book, right?
Yep.
Jade decides to prank call her sister Kathy, who is at home babysitting. Jade tells Kathy that she's from the Division Street Mall Association, and Kathy has been awarded the worst dressed shopper of the month. Kathy figures out pretty quickly that it's Jade, and she hangs up. So then Jade wants to prank Henry Raven, a boy at their school, and he answers, and Jade puts on a sexy, seductive voice telling Henry she's his secret admirer. And Henry doesn't fall for it, and so he hangs up. Then Dina calls Rob Morale the school heartthrob. Dina pulls the same secret admirer bit, and Rob falls for it. He asks to meet up and wants her number, but Dina declines and hangs up. And then Jade wants to call more classmates, but Dina says no because her parents will be home soon. And Jade wants to do it again tomorrow night, but Dina and her dad are picking up Chuck at the airport, and Jade is excited to meet Chuck. So the reason why I wanted to do the breakdown for Chapter 1 is because in Chapter 1, we got a little shout out to my boy Freddy Krueger. And in 1990, we were up to A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child. So Freddy was definitely a household name by this point in time.
So I would like to talk about the phone company father real quick.
Yes.
Because my father worked for Ohio Bell when I was growing up. He was not an executive.
Okay.
He actually was the guy, basically what today would be like an IT manager, or he fixed all the computers in the building. And he was not trained to fix computers. He started for the company at like 19 and just became the manager of that department for a while. So we also had the latest gadgets, free phone service.
Did you really?
We sure did.
Okay.
We did not have personal lines in our bedroom, but we did end up getting a second line when the internet really kicked off before anybody else I knew had it. And we always had 3 computers running DOS side by side because he'd bring home the computers that were thrown away and office chairs and everything.
That's awesome.
It didn't make me jump because I remember when caller ID first became a thing, having a device that sat next to the phone.
I remember that. I remember.
And so caller ID didn't actually launch till the mid 90s. And I wondered why nobody star 69 them. However, that was not around until 92. And even the star 67 wasn't around until September 1990. So none of those things existed when this book was written. So it meant you truly could make anonymous calls.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if you call the phone company, they'd probably have a record of the call. But I don't know that you could publicly get your own phone records that way.
Before we jump into Chapter 2, I want to ask you both, did you ever make prank phone calls in the 90s?
I don't think so.
You didn't?
No, I was too good. I was too goody two-shoe.
Okay, Yohe?
Not myself. Oh, I would say I had some friends that together we did it, but I would not have done it on my own accord by myself. But in the peer group, absolutely, we definitely did a few. Yeah. But also, I also want to mention Dina being this very stereotypical, I'm so mousy and shy, but then this little bit of a seductive, I can put on a mystery voice. But how that plays into how we see her as starting out a little bit meek and watch her develop throughout the story.
I'm in the same boat as you. I made prank phone calls, but not by myself. It was girls' night or slumber party or whatever. And we called, we looked in the phone book and got the phone number for some guy with the last name Gillette and asked him, are you the best a man can get? Because that was the slogan for Gillette at the time. And he must have already received that call because he was like, nope, you blew it. I've already been asked that, and hangs up. So whatever, it's fine.
I will say I had a strong dislike for both characters in the first chapter, and I thought about it.
Okay.
I did have an experience in middle school when I was a 6th grader of 8th grade girls flirting with me and my 6th grade friend at lunch one day and sitting with us, and then finding out later it was a prank because they are just being. And I do understand at their age, they probably thought it was harmless to call that guy and pretend they liked him.
Henry
But right
Raven,
after
yeah.
But that was so cruel. And I know they wouldn't have the brain development yet to realize how cruel that was.
Yeah.
But they started at a deficit, and it took quite a while for me to start liking them after that.
I was gonna say isn't it the next chapter where they drop the shaming of sorts?
Yeah, I thought of them as mean girls from the start of this book. I didn't think of them as that by the end, but yeah, at the beginning.
All right, let's see what happens in chapter 2.
So on the way to the airport, Dina's excited to have Chuck live with them, but the feeling doesn't last long when she remembers all the trouble that Chuck has gotten into. At the airport, Chuck has a major attitude and sneers, just like the prologue of the mean person sneering. Like the foreshadowing, the false clues are so strong. I was sure for the first few chapters, oh, it's him, right? Is it that obvious? But of course not. He calls Dina kid, which we don't know what grade they're in, but they're at least in high school. So she's at least a freshman. We know he is a senior. He is 18. But even that age difference would not be enough that he should be calling her kid, I don't think.
I think he's only a year older than her.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
So which did make me wonder too, what was the parental relationship of how they were half siblings? Did the dad quickly break up with Chuck's mom and then almost immediately get together with?
Yeah.
Because it's not clear. And whenever there's a 1-year age gap with 2 different parents, it's like, what's the juicy goss there? So, and I feel like that's already the third time in Fear Street this has happened with siblings, a year.
Yeah,
half siblings or something.
Yeah. Who did Dina's father, or is it the mother, or who had the?
Oh, we share the same dad, so dad was knocking his boots with somebody.
Well, maybe they were for all we know, they could have been very happy in a polygamous relationship.
That's very true.
A polyamorous relationship, and then they just decided to go their separate ways, but the dad was present for both, because it seemed like he was still involved in Chuck's life, even before Chuck came to live with them.
He was, yeah.
So, we don't know that it was actually salacious or bad feelings. He just,
But it's Fear Street. It was salacious.
But not too sexual, because we have to be pretty chaste at Fear Street. On the way home, they get into a traffic jam due to a terrible car accident. I had Final Destination vibes because it was a pile. I'm like, where's the logs falling up the truck? And Dina's dad tells them it'll be safer outside the car, which I wanted to scream at the book, don't you dare, because the car is still moving and you're not. Once you're kind of stopped, then get away from the car before other cars can hit your back. But the second you stop is not the time.
That was so wild. I've never heard an adult say, get out of the car in the middle of
not while it's happening.
Yeah.
Not while it's happening. So then a car a few feet ahead goes up in flames, and people realize Tuffy the dog is inside the car. Chuck goes toward the car, presumably to save Tuffy, but as he does, the car explodes. And I like animals, I really do, but I still think that's dumb to risk your life to get the dog out. Especially, it's not even your dog.
Yeah.
I had a big problem with him running into the fireball for a dog.
Of course, because it's Fear Street, there's probably going to be an animal demise at some point. And I guess we're going to find out in chapter 3.
What's really weird is that Chuck dies in the explosion. It's the ghost of Chuck for the rest of the book. Which makes a very few.
Chuck and Tuffy's ghosts hunt.
Yes.
Start making prank phone calls to the animal shelter.
Chapter 3. While in bed, Dina reminisces about the accident. Chuck was able to rescue Tuffy, and he gave Tuffy back to the little boy. The boy's mother refers to Chuck as a hero. Dina agrees that Chuck is either a hero or crazy for running up to a burning car. In the morning, Dina makes an extra bowl of cereal for Chuck and offers to introduce him to people at Shadyside. Chuck, not having it. Not interested in being introduced to anybody, and when Dina's mom offers to drive them to school, Chuck dumps his cereal down the drain. Rude. At school, Dina and Jade are in the cafeteria. Also, I need to take a moment. Jade's fits. Jade's looks. Has anyone been paying attention in the book? Because her outfits, R.L. Stine makes it a point to give her these outlandishly kind of, I guess 90s hot, but probably also super gaudy. So each time I had to do a Google image search and what is this? Tell me
But she's wearing
a navy jumper would look like. And
LA Gear shoes.
I think that'd be a fun thing you should do at some point is come up with an AI generated of the outfits from Fear Street.
Pinterest board for each.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Oh,
that's a whole separate project you could start.
I also want to make a map of Fear Street with all the streets and everything?
Yeah.
There it is? Oh, I'm going to find it.
I wish it marked all the houses, so I specifically looked it up while I was reading this book today, and apparently it was on a calendar that was sold back in the 90s. So, okay, and so it's not got nearly as much detail as I would like, but you can see Division Street, you can see Mill Street, you can see Fear Street.
Oh, okay.
And they got like the mansions marked and stuff.
Oh, I'm going to find that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's real easy to find.
okay.
Sweet. All right. Back to the story. At school, Dina and Jade are in the cafeteria. Dina sees Rob Morrell and remembers the prank call that she made. Jade asks where Chuck is, and Dina tells her that Chuck isn't interested in socializing with his little sister. Jade tells Dina that Bruce Kipnis and Sherry Murdoch are dating. Dina makes note that Bruce and Sherry are the fattest kids in school. Why is this necessary except for just being shady mean girls?
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, not everybody was fat. Now we're all fat, so.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I got the ick about that, and I know different time, different, like everyone made comments on everybody's bodies, especially women, but neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Jade mentions that Mrs. Overton cut her hair as short as a boy's. Oh man, the hard goss just keeps on coming.
Hey there, homophobic.
As Jade is talking, a loud thud goes through the room, and Dina sees that Bobby McCory is fighting with Chuck, and Chuck has a knife. Dun dun dun.
It bothered me that we skipped over the action. And I know Fierce does this all the time, where you end on a cliffhanger, and then it's the next day, and we're going to hearing about it retroactively.
Yes.
I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Aspect.
So we're into chapter 4, and it's that mysterious person's point of view. Again, just like how we had for the prologue.
It felt unnecessary because it's so short, and it doesn't give you any new information past what was in the prologue.
Right. So the mysterious person keeps mentioning he was having trouble keeping it together, but it was no big deal because his plan was still on track. The mysterious person talks about how nothing and no one can stop his plan from happening next week, and once it does, his troubles will be over. Chapter 5, that's going to be real hard to follow.
Well, we're now in the second week of September, so Chuck's already been in school a week. We're going to skip right through that first week.
Mm-hmm.
And Dina is worried about the school year. Her classes are hard. She hates trigonometry. Same girl. I only did pre-trig, but my average math grade was 105% all through like algebra 2 geometry. I got the pre-trig calculus and barely pulled a B. So her social life is the same as last year. She's only invited places because she's friends with Jade and Chuck. 3 teachers had to break up the fight between Chuck and Bobby. That happened last week, but we're just finding out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck would have been expelled, but Dina's dad swore Chuck would be on his best behavior, and for some reason they believed him, even though he'd just been kicked out of another school.
Right.
Dina talks about how Chuck stays to himself and spends most of his time in his room. She's outside washing her mom's Honda Civic when Jade comes over. She was supposed to spend a day with Mike Kamitsky. Was he a name we heard before in another previous book?
I kind of feel like yes, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint.
We need to start a spreadsheet.
We do.
Maybe that'll be my project this month. But he canceled because he said he had a cold. Jade doesn't believe him, so Jade came over to see what Dina's up to, because if boys are going to be stupid, you might as well go for another girl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Yep, that's what I did.
That's my philosophy as well. For so many reasons. Dina gets offended because she feels like Jade knew she'd be home since she never has dates, but she lets it go and invites her to stay for pizza in the movie, which... I feel like Lisa's always staying for pizza. All the characters in here. But I guess that is a teenage thing, right?
Yeah.
Pizza and Coke.
Pizza movie.
Or Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. And really, like, there was nothing else to do in the 90s as a teenager. There were no other, like, delivery services. Yeah, great. Yeah. Yeah, there was no Netflix and chill. It was,
Rent a VHS from the local store and chill.
Yeah. And the only like food delivery was either pizza or Chinese food. That's it.
Oh, Chinese was not delivered in my town.
It wasn't? Okay.
We still don't have a Chinese place in my hometown. No, but we had 6 pizza shops for a town of 4,000.
Okay. So pizza every night, huh?
I mean, we didn't. But
somebody.
I worked at a pizza shop at high school in my hometown, and literally like 75-80% of every household in the town ordered at least once a month. We did the math. Like they went to the dispatch to do analytics to see how they could improve the business. Like you're so well saturating. You're not gonna. When you're in like the 80% of households order at least once a month of your age, you're not gonna do better than us. So anyway, Jade accepts, but she's interested in meeting Chuck. Dina tells her that he's basically Mr. Antisocial, but of course, if a cute girl in a skirt comes over or a denim jumper, whatever.
Add hair.
Of course, the Auburn hair. After pizza movies, it's pouring down rain, and Jade brings up Chuck again. Dina tells her to forget it, and Jade tells Dina to prank Rob Morrill again, which I don't see that as a prank, actually. The Rob thing, I really approve of, because it was her way of, like, trying to get some confidence to talk to him, and it seemed like he returned the interest. I expect the next kid to hear that they're dating, like Corey and Lisa. So, I mean, like, that's not a prank because you actually liked them and were pursuing it in that way.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Dina does. She's talking to Rob. She hears a click on the line. I knew immediately what that meant, but these girls didn't. I guess phone technology was still new. Jade's then going to call Mike to see if he's actually sick, but Chuck comes in and tells them that he knows they're making prank calls and wants in on it, or he's telling Dad. Is he 8 or 18? Chuck doesn't want to make silly calls to high school boys, though. Instead, this is hilarious. You're not going to believe this. He makes a bomb threat.
My eyes, as soon as I saw that, I was like, ooh. That, especially now that you can be identified by your phone very easily, making those threats.
The next, like, 5 chapters, every time they said, well, he's not a criminal, I'm like, yes, he is. This is a serious crime. I was very not happy about that.
God bless the 90s.
Like, so they're talking to the cops. They're like, no, he's not a criminal. The cop should be responding, yes, yes, you.
Yes, he is. Just because you haven't been caught doesn't mean you aren't engaging in criminal activity.
No, the end of this book should be Chuck still has to stay in jail because of the bomb threat. I'm not even joking. So he decides to call someone on Fear Street because he's heard all the stories. The girl tells him Fear Street's nothing to make fun of and should be taken seriously. Chuck calls Bobby McCory, tells him he's the fan of the Fear Street. Watch out, and then hangs up. Chuck goes over to the window before he screams, "Spirits of Fear Street, I'm waiting for you!" There's thunder and lightning. The house lights flicker on and off. Lights come back on. Chuck is missing. They look at the floor and see Chuck is lying there, struck by lightning, and now he's a double ghost.
He's not.
His ghostly form was destroyed, so now he's a double ghost.
Side note, real quick. I wish I would have read this before we started the podcast, because I would have totally called this podcast The Phantom Ghost of Fear Street, or the Phantom of Fear Street. Yeah, instead of, Fearopoly Street, because I have no creative bone in my body.
I am good. No, I love Fearopoly Street. I think it's a really clever use of your production company name with this. I think that's perfect. I am going to be disappointed if the Phantom of Fear Street does not come back in some way in some other book, because it's so brilliant to have wasted it on this prank call with it that doesn't go anywhere is a little bit sad.
Agreed. Chapter 6. Dina and Jade call for Chuck, and he jumps up and scares them. Ooga booga. Really? It's the best you got?
I didn't say ooga booga in the notes.
He faked being hurt. Jade says she's going to walk home, and Chuck offers to walk with her. Maybe a little bit of jealousy from Dina. We'll see. The next day, Chuck apologizes for the prank he pulled on Jade and Dina. At school, Dina bumps into Rob Morrill, and they exchange pleasantries, albeit a little scared on Dina's part for the moment. Dina starts to feel bad about the prank calls, and she tells herself she's going to tell Jade and Chuck, no more prank calls. But before she's able to tell Jade plops in front of her an article from the Shadyside Morning Press. Bomb threat a hoax, police say. Da-da-da-da-dun. The article mentions the bowling alley was evacuated, and among the 30 bowlers standing in the rain was, call back to Shadyside gymnast Corey Brooks. And I believe his quote was, I'm sorry that I couldn't finish my game. Can you just let us back in? Typical high school boy.
Yeah.
Dina tells Jade that she wants to stop making the prank calls, but Jade wants to keep going. She thinks it's neat that they made it in the paper. Also, Dina tells Jade that it's her phone, and she says they're going to stop, but Jade threatens and slightly blackmails her to say, I'm going to tell Rob, who's been calling from her phone.
Yeah, I thought they were friends. Now that's back in that meeting.
Yeah. Shady. Shady and Shady Side.
That's the other podcast name, Shady and Shady Side.
Shady and Shady Side.
Jade offers to wait until Saturday when the three of them can discuss it. What a gentle person. On Saturday, Dina reminisces about how nice Chuck has been to her lately. She mentions he has 2 personalities. Got the nice guy and the sneer scowl guy. Dina's parents are at a friend's house for the evening, and Jade comes over. Dina and Chuck prepare a barbecue, and while they're eating, Dina tells them she doesn't want to make phone calls anymore. And with no objection, Jade and Chuck agree. They tell Dina they have already talked about it. Also, when did they talk about it? It's feeling a little left out. And they agree it's a good idea since their dad works for the phone company. Just realize that now. Like, I made all these calls like, oh, wait, Mr. Martinson works for them. It's fine. During dinner, Dina sees that Chuck and Jade are holding hands. And then again, the little bit of jealousy pops up, but then she realizes they're a good fit. Way for you to grow in that short period of time.
And I know I'd still be mad that they had the whole conversation without me. To discuss it together.
Yeah.
But at least she is like, at least it aired in my favor, so I'm not going to poke a hole in it.
Yes, but
Yeah.
Dina's having a nice time until a bat flies by her face. She screams, ah! And then she and Jade run inside. Chuck follows and jokes about them being afraid of the bat, and then jokes about how Fear Street stories are all nonsense because apparently bats, they're thinking it's a vampire bat or just like a spirit bat. The ghost of Tuffy has come back in bat form to try to get Chuck. We don't know.
Well, then the bat turns into Dracula. No. But I was bothered. I guess when I was a teenager, I could cook, but none of my friends could. And Fear Street, I feel like they all are doing adult things sometimes too.
They do.
The whole doing this cookout. The parents are never around and they're doing adult things more than most teenagers would.
And to prove that Fear Street is all nonsense, Chuck calls the first Fear Street number he finds in the phone book. Waits 15 rings, because somebody does that apparently.
Oh, I used to. Before voicemail? Absolutely. Letter. Yeah.
I usually gave it about like maybe 9 or 10 max.
I think answering machines picked up on the 4th ring.
If you had an answering machine.
That's
in the
true.
1990, a lot of people still did it.
Didn't.
Okay, back to the story. So after waiting 15 rings, because again, I waited, on the 16th ring, a woman answers and says, "Please come quickly. He's going to kill me." Okay. That's it?
I mean, this is like the mother of all coincidences here. This book, the believability immediately is out the window when this happens, I think.
Right.
My first thought was this is somebody playing a prank on them for prank calling.
That would have been a cool twist. Yeah. Maybe that happens. Maybe that's what the mysterious man is doing.
No, I read ahead. That's it.
Oh, this wasn't a read-along podcast?
Oh, no. We read each chapter, talk about it, then pause the recording.
Well, I think for a certain someone, it might be who waited until this afternoon to read the book.
Started at 11 a.m. It's not this afternoon.
Makes you feel better. I finished the book at like 3 o'clock.
I usually read it a week ahead, but as I told you guys offline, as I was working out at 6:15 this morning, I remembered I had not read the book yet or started it. So
I read it at least a week in advance because
you're
write down in
notes.
Yeah.
You, of course, if I was doing 30 pages of notes, I would have to start a while ago. But I'm not. I'm just reading it.
Chapter 7. The woman begs for Chuck to come help her, but then a man takes the phone from her and tells Chuck he has the wrong number.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's the end. He says, okay, hangs up, and the book.
Yeah, he was like, that's it.
But also, why doesn't she give her name? He says, "Who is this?" And she just proceeds with, "Please help me."
Yeah.
Helpful.
Chuck hears the woman scream, and then the line goes dead. Dina wants to call the police, but Chuck says no. Chuck and the girls head to 884 Fear Street, where the Farbersons live. They got that information from the phone book, obviously.
I did Google 884 Fear Street to see if it was... No, to see if, because we've now gone through a couple houses on Fear Street, so I wonder if they were going to reuse. Yeah. And Googling 888 Fear Street only came up with this book.
Okay. I think, didn't Anna in the first book, she lived at 400 something?
I need to add that to my spreadsheet when I make a spreadsheet of all the characters, because I want to keep track of what house numbers.
You're just doing this podcast with me because you want to expand on your Excel skills.
Yes.
Okay.
That's based.
Just so we know.
Also, that address, they mention it's close to the cemetery. Whereas 99 Fear Street, a future series coming up, must be at the very opposite end, despite it being the worst house in the universe.
So 99 Fear Street's marked on that Fear Street map, and I swore it was by the cemetery, actually, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But 99 Fear Street's marked on that Fear Street map, and I swore it was by the cemetery, actually, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay.
99 Fear Street.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense. But 99 Fear Street's marked on that Fear Street map, and I swore it was by the cemetery, actually, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Also, it could be. Well, I was gonna say Dina and Jade. I don't think they hang out in Fear Street very often, so I think it's one of those hearsay things.
Oh no, 99's right in the middle
Okay.
for some reason. It's there.
Back with chapter 7, Chuck and the girls head to 884 Fear Street, where the Farbersons live. When they get there, they go back to the house, or when they get there, they go to the back of the house and see the back door is slightly ajar. In the kitchen, there's broken dishes on the floor. It's a whole big thing. The whole kitchen is in shambles. Chuck and the girls go into the house and see a body lying in a pool of blood on the floor.
And it's Chuck's twice deceased ghost. Did he die again a third time?
It's Tuffy.
Oh no! Kill Tuffy.
No. Audience, so what you know, Michelle's the one lying now about what happens in the book.
2 can play it.
Please do, it's fun. So we're on chapter 8, right?
Chapter 8.
Okay. Yeah. Chuck inspects the body, says the woman has been stabbed in the billiards room by Colonel Mustard. It's presumed she's dead, but Chuck says she needs an ambulance instead of a coroner. Chuck and the girls go further into the house to look for a phone, but instead they see a man wearing a ski mask and he's holding a tire iron. He offers to change the tire for them, but it's unnecessary, so then they just go home. Chuck tells them they know that he killed the woman because she caught him breaking in. Chuck grabs a knife, the man swings the tire iron at Chuck and kills him for the 4th time. Chuck, Dina, and Jade run out of the house and get in the car. They speed off, but the intruder follows them in his truck with the truck nuts dangling. Mm-hmm. They think they lost it, and they head home. When they pull into the driveway, they see headlights behind them.
All right, chapter 9. The truck pulls up the driveway, but then leaves, and they run into the house to call 911. Chuck tells the police to go to 884 Fear Street because a woman has been stabbed. He says he's the Phantom of Fear Street calling.
Which that moment to make that joke is so inappropriate.
I know.
Yeah. Also, pick a different. If you're already using it to talk to someone else, you probably want to just like make yourself not identifiable, especially if he already has a history. Well, that's probably why he has a history of crime. He's dumb enough to keep doing stupid things to get caught. All right. Anyways, we're back. Later that night, Dina wakes up from a nightmare just to hear a car pull up the driveway and then a knock at the door. It's 2 a.m. Her dad answers the door to see Shadyside police detectives Fraser and Monroe standing on the porch. Also, I noticed that I believe it's Detective Fraser, they say, and then they just say Monroe. Mm-hmm. It was like, it's a really weird part where like they don't refer to both of them as Detective Fraser and Detective Monroe. But maybe R.L. Stine just didn't want it to like get kind of clunky.
Maybe.
Saying, like,
or Monroe hasn't earned his detective badge yet.
That could be. Little hierarchy, which I guess if you think, well, I mean, they're both inept, so I'd say one of them might have.
It would just say Detective Monroe. It does say both at the bottom of page 57.
It's inconsistent, I will say, because there were a few spots where I'm just like, I didn't use it for one, but not right. But, okay. Neither here nor there. They're actually there to talk to Dina and Chuck. They all head into the kitchen, and the detectives ask Chuck and Dina if they know the Farbersons. Farberson. There we go. Ours. If they've ever been to 884 Fear Street, if they've ever talked to the Farbersons on the phone. Chuck and Dina both replied no to everything. Also, it's 2 a.m. I would be like half in a REM cycle at that point. You could tell me that, I'd be like,
I probably wouldn't have fallen asleep after what they just experienced. I'd still be awake.
Well, in theory, if you were that, but if you didn't do that in your alibi, they could at least go with the like, sure, what? But also,
I mean, just saying no to everything is suspicious in of itself. They should confirm they were there. But anyway.
The detectives then say Mr. Farberson told them that Dina and Chuck broke into his house to rob them and then murdered his wife when she came home. Okay. First of all, okay, well, we'll get into this in a second. Of course, Dina and Chuck deny it, but the detectives tell them they know they were on Fear Street recently because their car has green sand on the tires, and that green sand can only be found at the end of Fear Street. Also, Mr. Farberson says he can see their license plate in the moonlight. What? Clearly.
Shady side.
Yeah, so shady. Like, these details, they should have questioned a little bit more, but we're going to get a little bit more of these detectives and how they've kind of bumbled.
When they accused them of robbing, though, should the response be, search our house, we don't have anything what we're supposed to have taken?
Yeah.
They tell Chuck and Dina to come down to the station to talk more, and their dad tells the detectives they are about to lawyer up.
Chapter 10. It's from the mysterious man's point of view again. And the mysterious man is talking about how his plan is coming along nicely, and all he has to do is wait 1 more week. And if someone gets in his way, he has no problem murdering someone else.
Now, see, at that point, I no longer suspected Chuck of being the murdering man, but I guess you could, if you were really stretching it, be like, oh, it wasn't a random number he called. This was all part of his plan in some way.
Yeah.
But no, by now I was done believing in him.
You're no longer a believer.
No, I don't believe the truth is out there. Now we're up to the 3rd week in September.
This has all happened in 3 weeks?
2, because this is the beginning of the 3rd week. At the police station, Dina and Chuck were put into separate rooms and questioned good cop, bad cop style by the police without a lawyer or their parents present. Finally, attorney Sidney Roberts showed up, and the detectives stopped questioning Dina. They keep asking who the 3rd person was, but Dina wouldn't give up Jade. But she will a minute later, so it just, I don't know. Dina's finally released from custody, and while she's going home, her dad tells her that Chuck was arrested because the police found his prints on the knife that killed Mrs. Barberson's. At that point, you immediately tell... I mean, I know she does, tell them more, but you immediately tell them what's going on, right? You're even arrested. Once you're in the station, you need to come clean.
Yeah. So I have a question for you both. Let's say you were in Dina's shoes. Would you rat out Jade?
No, but I would tell them everything else. I would be like, I went to the house. We were just trying to prove to my brother that Fear Street was cursed. He called to disprove it, and we got this mysterious phone call and we went. That's the whole story, and that is all true. And you don't have to tell them, yeah, there was a friend. We're not going to talk about the friend. We're just not, because you're not going to give up your friend.
Yeah. Yohe, are you singing like a canary?
I would do the same thing Olivia said. I wouldn't rat out Jade, no purpose to, but also I would divulge enough to be like, yeah, the green sand comes from Fear Street. Yeah, we were there. But also just enough to put Mr. Farbison's testimony into a little bit of question, but at the same time, yeah, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Chapter 12. On the drive home, Dina breaks down and tells her parents everything. Really? Everything? You had to tell them all the stuff, including... So they know about the whole Rob Morrell sexy talk?
Yes.
Oh, that's an awkward conversation to have with your parents. By the way, I'm leading a guy on... Well, not leading, but I'm telling him I'm somebody, but... Well, all right. And I'm sure they love that conversation. Jade comes over and Dina fills her in. She tells Jade that since Chuck is 18, he's going to be tried as an adult. And when Jade asks why he's still in jail, Dina tells her there's no bail for murder suspects. Jade and Dina tell Dina's parents the entire story from the first prank call to the murder. Parents are having a hard time connecting all the dots, including the Rob Morrell call, and Dina fears the police will too. Actually, they didn't have the trouble connecting those dots. They were just really weirded out by it. Later on Sunday, Dina and Jade go to the police station and are questioned by the police. Again, with no parents or attorney present. Really? Where did Sydney go? Wasn't that the lawyer that was part of everything? Just a one and done? Maybe Mr. Martinson's like, I'm not going to pay fee. You get one. That's it. Everybody gets one.
Paying your $5,000 retainer, your $5,000 retainer.
I think they're paying him for Chuck, but at this point, there's no reason the girls aren't being charged.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just as Dina suspected. The police don't believe what actually happened. Rude.
I want a quick round of applause for biting my tongue, and I'm going to try very hard the rest of this episode of not jumping in and saying exactly how incompetent Shadyside Police Department is, because they have broken so many laws in their interrogation.
Investigation, because when they go back to the house, and I know I'm skipping ahead, but when they go back to the house, it still looks the same other than the chalk line. You'd think if it's a burglary murder, they're going to do more than just
Yeah, and who's always the number one suspect when a spouse is killed?
The spouse? Specifically the husband, because it's always the wife that's dead. Unless the husband deserved it.
In Chapter 13, Jade comes over and shows Dina an article in the paper. And I'll read it for everyone, and hopefully I don't get charged with copyright. Local teen charged in murder. 18-year-old suspect tied to phone threats. Charles A. Martinson, the son of local telephone executive Albert B. Martinson, was arrested at his home early Sunday morning and charged with the stabbing murder Saturday night of Edna Lemley Farbison, 45. Mrs. Farbison, who moved to Shadyside only 6 months ago, was found by her husband Stanley, 46, in their ransacked house at 884 Fear Street. According to police sources, Mrs. Farbison surprised the suspect as he was burglarizing the house. A struggle ensued, and Mrs. Farbison was killed with a 10-inch long knife that her husband identified from their kitchen. Mr. Farbison told police that he arrived home as the suspect was fleeing. The moon was right above the house, so I got a good look at him and the license on his car, Farbison said. Farbison didn't pursue the intruder, but instead ran inside to check on the safety of his wife. Farbison had come home early from Alberga 3, a popular Italian restaurant that he owns and operates. Usually I don't get home till after midnight, Farbison told the press, but Edna wouldn't answer the phone, and I got worried. I had a feeling something was wrong. The Martinson youth is being held without bail pending further investigation. Also arrested were 2 juvenile girls who were later released to their parents' custody. According to police sources, the 3 teens are implicated in a number of threatening phone calls that have been made in the Shadyside area in recent weeks, including the bomb threat at Shadyside Lanes last Saturday night. These same sources report that Charles Martinson identified himself as the Phantom of Fear Street in these calls, while the girls made anonymous, suggestive calls to local boys.
Way too much given away.
That is.
Especially for... Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, what the timeline the police should be, making, the Phantom calls it in, not the husband. And if they go, and they call it in as soon as they get there, so by the time the husband drives back home, the police should already be at the house before the husband gets there.
Yeah.
So then they would ask, it just doesn't make sense. The timeline doesn't add up.
Also, they mentioned all 3 of them were implicated in the bomb threats. That's liable.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they were not, they could fight that. I feel like there are so many lawsuits against this police station. Yeah, that could absolutely happen.
So Dina was hesitant to go to school, but to her surprise, most of her classmates gave supportive statements. Lisa Bloom, the editor of the school paper Shadyside Spectator, asked Dina for an exclusive interview, but Dina declined. Still in the hallway, Dina is cornered by Bobby McCory. He tells Dina to give Chuck a message. Basically, if Chuck gets out of jail, his troubles won't be over.
Oh, early in the chapter when you mentioned when you were reading the article, I don't want to interrupt you, but they mentioned the Farbisons' ages. And I don't know if it's because we're from the perspective of the teenagers, but I thought of them as so much older than Sue Mastersons. And then you get to their ages and you're like, oh no, I'm 42.
I'm 46.
Yeah, he's 41. So we're right around the age of the Farbisons.
Dina finds Jade during lunch, and Jade tells Dina that Rob Morrell is looking for her. Jade tells Tina that Rob asked if they called him, and all Jade said was that it wasn't her who called him. Rob finally finds Dina and asks her on a date. She says yes, and he says he'll call her, and he has a feeling he'll like talking to her on the phone.
I was a little mad that Jade gave up Dina like that. But at the same time, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt that if she thought Rob was actually interested, and I'm sure she could tell, and if she actually is trying to help them get together, then that's the right thing to say. So
later in the evening, Dina is studying trig, and Jade calls. She tells Dina to turn on Channel 7 News. Channel 7 News is interviewing Mr. Farbison, who has a broken nose. Mr. Farbison says he hopes the judge throws the book at Chuck. Then, in a plot twist everyone saw coming, Dina recognizes Mr. Farbison's voice as the man who is wearing the ski mask.
Oh, he does. For sure.
Absolutely.
Also, Jade, outfit alert. We've got a navy jumper with a fuzzy pink wool jacket. I had to look that one up, and I'd love to see an AI generation of that.
Chapter 14 Dina and Jade agree to tell the police that Mr. Farberson is the masked man, but of course the police don't believe them. So Dina and Jade decide to take matters into their own hands, like every teenager in every story like this ever written, that I've read anyway. Jade takes 2 wigs from her mom's beauty shop, and Dina and Jade are going to Mr. Farberson's restaurant in disguise to do some recon. Jade and Dina go and tell the waitress that they there apply for a job. The waitress asks if they're from an agency, and there's only one position. An assistant named Linda Morrison quit last week. Yeah, I immediately thought that was suspicious too.
Mm-hmm.
I will not tell you if it ends up being suspicious or not, but they're led to Mr. Farberson's office to file an application, and Farberson's there. He tells Jade to fill out the application. He'll be back in a few minutes while he and the waitress look over the wine inventory. Dina and Jade search his office for any info that may lead to prove he killed his wife, and Jade finds an envelope from Shadyside Travel Agency. Mr. Farberson opens the door, tells him to stop playing games because he knew the truth as soon as he saw them. I am glad he had some suspicion because, it just was so unrealistic that they got away with this.
Yes.
So even if you didn't recognize them, yeah.
Also, I love the choices of incognito that they picked. Basically, they swapped. It just swapped the other. Yeah. So now Dina's the Jade, and Jade is the Dina.
But they put extra makeup on. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, curly auburn hair in a frizz. That's not how Jade's auburn hair looks. Right. Also, I had to look up what a bubble cut was. Chapter 15. Mr. Farberson tells the girls he knows they aren't from the agency because he called them, and they said they didn't send anybody, so they're liars.
Did the agency say that he had the wrong number?
Oh,
that was early. That's what he said when Chuck called him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Jade tells him that she heard from her cousin that Linda Morrison quit, and she was interested in the job, but didn't know she had to go through the agency. Mr. Farberson was actually, he was like, I like your spunk.
Mary.
Yeah. Interested in hiring her on the spot, but Jade declines because she doesn't want to work for someone who's so suspicious, or actually right in this case. Mm-hmm. Mr. Farberson then tells Jade that he has to be careful around people, and Jade and Dina leave with the travel packets. Ta-ta-ta. Jade and Dina then drive a few blocks away and then pull over to open the envelope. Actually, before I say that, Jade being a fast talker and thinker on the fly, I like that story way more than what you're the worst dressed shopper at the mall, Frank. So originally I was just like, not the best creativity. So she's upped it here for convenience sake, but I just wanted to make sure to call that out.
I did think it was kind of ridiculous how Dina's like, how did you know Linda's name? She's like, she said Linda.
I know.
We don't need that. Get unnecessary. Stine was a little short on his word count. He had to.
I think he was.
So Jade and Dina drive a few blocks away and then pull over to open the envelope. It's a one-way ticket for 2 people to Argentina that's leaving on Saturday. Note, it's currently Tuesday, so only a few days away. Now, because it's pre-9/11, there are no names on the tickets, so the girls can't prove who the other ticket is for. Wow. I completely forgot that's how tickets actually worked back then. They decide it's pointless to tell the police about the plane ticket. Jade suggests she and Dina go talk to Linda Morrison and find out why she quit. So, get the phone book out, start driving. On the way to Linda's house, Jade tells Dina that she found Linda's address in the phone book along with her phone number. Jade called Linda and told her she was from a survey company and wanted to conduct an in-person survey about her experience working at a Shadyside restaurant. Okay, Jade. Creativity. Okay, Mary Sue. So Linda told her to come over, and when they get there, they introduce themselves with their real names because Dina is so tired of pretending to be someone else. I mean, it was so tough being one anonymous phone call and then one fake name. But Dina, I got you. It's fine. Jade asks Linda what it was like to work for Mr. Farberson, and she tells her it was okay. He wasn't a bad boss. All very sharply. Then Jade asks if Linda ever met Mrs. Farberson, and Linda is taken aback. She says she met her a few times at the restaurant. Just then the phone rings and Linda answers. She refers to the caller as darling and tells the girl she's going to take the call in the other room and asks them to hang up the phone, which is a very trusting thing to do for us random people conducting a survey for you. But okay, plot's got a plot. It's fair. Jade picks up the phone and hears Linda talking to Mr. Farberson. She tells him she doesn't want it in her house anymore. Mr. Farberson tells her that he'll be there in 5 minutes. Jade and Dina take that as a let's get the hell out of here, leave, and park a block away to watch Mr. Farberson go inside the house. Farberson and Linda kiss, and the girls realize they're having an affair. Jade and Dina conclude the second plane ticket is probably for Linda Morrison. They want to go to the police, but still doubt the police will believe them. And Farberson comes out of the house with a bag, and he puts it in his truck. The girls follow him to see what's in the bag, and Jade thinks it's the mask and bloody shirt from the night he killed his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I mean, once Linda answered that phone, you hear "darling," immediately it all clicks together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I felt it click when I found out that the assistant abruptly quit a week ago. It's like, yes, this is
Oh, I didn't get it quite that.
this is all coming into place.
Yeah.
In chapter 16, the girls follow Farberson to the restaurant and watch him throw the package into a dumpster. Just as they go to retrieve it, a cook standing in the back doorway asks what they're doing. They tell him they're looking for the front door, and the cook tells them the restaurant isn't open for lunch. So the girls leave with the plan to come back in the evening when the cook will be too busy to notice them. It's the evening now, and Jane and Dina head to the dumpster. They dodge hungry rats and coleslaw leftovers and find the package that Farberson threw in there. When they open it, they both scream because... Chapter 17.
Oh, it's one of those Stine scream, and then you'll have to wait to see what's on the other page.
But at least they didn't work back at home as the next chapter starts, and then they tell us what happened.
That's true.
Earlier,
Yeah.
which, No, it's a dead cat. The girls assume Linda's cat died and she wanted Farberson to deal with the body. But there's never any follow-up about this cat. There's never an explanation for what.
No.
Like,
how did the cat die? Was it old age? Did it get hit by a car? What happened?
and is there suspicion? I guess we just have to take their word for it that her cat died and she wanted him to get rid of it.
Yeah, natural cause.
When my cat dies, I put it in a paper bag and close it up instead of burying it in the backyard or having it cremated.
They keep referring to it as the package, and I'm just like, wrap it up. I kept picturing in my head, it's like, wrap it up as a literal package.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you'd be able to tell, when you lift the bag, the difference between a cat and a shirt and hat. And I know or shirt and mask. I know you're running, but there's a very big difference. This is not what we think it is.
And smell.
And smell. It just was unnecessary.
It was.
So, like I said, they assume Linda's cat died. She wanted Farberson to deal with the body. Defeated, the girls head back to the car. When they get inside, Jade is grabbed by someone hiding in the back seat who murders her. End the story. No, it's someone wearing a mask with garlic breath. Tells them it's better not see them again. He will only give them one warning, other than the warning you
Yeah.
One more warning.
Wait, including this warning, or is there another one? What's going on?
Maybe it's one for Jade, one for Dina. They're just together, so it's okay, everyone gets one.
And that has shower and runs, and instead of locking the doors and following him while they can't call the cops, but follow him and honk the horn to get attention and just keep following him, they just let him get away.
Yeah.
Chapter 18. At school, Dina declines an invite from Rob to hang out because she has to visit Chuck in jail. No, those Wednesday visitation days for unsupervised minors. So inconvenient. At the jail, Chuck tells Dina how terrible it is and that he's being housed with real criminals, robbers, drug dealers, and a man who killed a family of campers in the state park. Possibly Jason Voorhees, maybe? Or Jason Voorhees alike? We'll never know. Dina tells him the family attorney is going to get the murder charges dropped to manslaughter and he'll be out soon, but that isn't very comforting to Chuck. She also tells Chuck all about Farberson, Linda, and Argentina. Chuck mentions that he would look inside the Fear Street house for clues, and Dina says she will. And then Chuck's immediately no, don't do this. Don't do what I just told you to do. Chuck doesn't want her to because it's too dangerous, but Dina insists. Chuck gets all worked up, and then the guard escorts Chuck back to his cell. I think Chuck is about to get some, guard brutality from this whole thing, and just again he's just screaming, Dina, don't do it. And so he's just not the brightest crayon, but in his defense, I'll just say he's probably been banged around a lot in this shady side rough maximum security prison that apparently also exists.
It's chapter 19, and after visiting Shadyside Prison, Dina doesn't feel well. She has an emotional outburst at the table when her parents question why she's glum, and her mother gaslights her and reminds her that this is hard on her dad because Chuck is his only son. Jade calls soon after, and Dina tells Jade that they need to return to Fear Street. The next day, it's raining, and Dina meets Jade at the mall so they can take the bus to Fear Street. Before they leave, they use a payphone to call the Farbersons' house to make sure no one is home, but the phone lines are down because of the storm.
Mm-hmm.
So they never got to make that call.
So chapter 20, Dina and Jade break into the Farberson house, and it's still a mess, as we mentioned. He's done nothing to clean it up. The girls head upstairs, find an office that's full of clutter and official papers. Dina and Jade start to go through the papers. Oh, they go up there because they're hearing the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that tree was mentioned, like reaching I'm like, they're going out that window on the tree. Like,
Oh, really? I had no idea.
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I expected them to do it the second he came in the house. I didn't expect them to go through like multiple scenes before they did it. But I was like, they're getting on that tree. So they find a Dear John letter to Mr. Farberson. Dear Stan, there's no use arguing anymore. I had made up my mind to leave you and nothing will change that. And I know you can't make a go of the restaurant. When I gave you the money to buy it, I believed you would finally be successful at something. But once again, you're failing. I refuse to give you any more money. In the last 5 years, you have gone through almost all of my inheritance. I have to save something for myself. I'll be by Saturday night to pick up my things. Goodbye. And so it turns out Mr. Farberson or Mrs. Farberson's leaving Mr. Farberson and taking her money with her. And they start to hear a car and they freeze and they're like, oh, it's just going to be driving by. But Dina puts the notes in her pocket, checks the closet for more clues, looks out the window and sees him coming in the front door.
Chapter 21. Dina and Jade hide in the office for a few minutes and then head downstairs to see where Mr. Farberson is. He's asleep in his chair, but the creaky staircase wakes him up. Dina and Jade go back to the office and head in the closet, but Dina knocks over a super loud silver trash can that gets Mr. Farberson's attention. Oh my gosh, of course. He goes upstairs into the office and notices drops of water on the papers on his desk. He opens the closet door and sees Jade and Dina just, chilling, trying to evade him. But
As you do.
Yeah, not doing so hot.
So Mr. Farberson opens the closet door right onto chapter 22. Mm-hmm. And Jade screams while Dina is frozen with fear. Jade breaks free from the closet, but Farberson corners her and puts her in a hold. Jade tells Dina to run and get help. Dina runs downstairs and tries to call for help, but the phone line is still dead. Farberson grabs Dina and drags her back upstairs. They get into a little scuffle in the hallway, and Farberson rips Dina's poncho and uses it to restrain her.
During the scuffle, the letter in Dina's jacket falls out and Farberson finds it. That did surprise me. I thought they were going to get away with the letter, but I guess I didn't realize how close to the end of the book we were. He throws Dina into the master bedroom where Jade is knocked unconscious. She comes to, and Farberson asks what they know. Dina tells them they know he killed Mrs. Farberson for her money and blamed Chuck for it and is now going to leave on a jet plane to Argentina. That's the plot of some movie, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Mr. Farberson confirms their suspicion and then locks them in the room with no way out other than the tree that goes right up to the window.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how convenient. Chapter 24. Dina and Jade block the door with the dresser and then open the bedroom window so they can climb down the tree, the only exit that they can think of. Mr. Farberson yells at them to let him in. Oh, okay. All right. Sure thing.
Then he hits the door open with an axe and sticks his face through. Here, Stanny. Scott.
And they get onto the branches that, of course, they look down. I'm like, oh, yeah, this will totally support us. I love the total trust in just like, oh, yeah, this looks like it absolutely could support two high school girls. Mm-hmm. So once they get onto those branches, they see Mr. Farberson below them holding, wait for it, a chainsaw.
Now that I was surprised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He fires it up and cuts down the tree, or at least starts to cut down the tree. Mm-hmm. Dina and Jade start to fall. Timber!
We're going down, yelling timber. Chapter 25. Just as the tree is about to fall, Dina sees police lights coming up the street. When the police arrive, Detective Frazier shoots Farberson twice, and he goes down. He goeth down, I yelleth timber. The police find the ladder and help Jade and Dina to the ground. The tree continues to fall and lands on Chuck, killing him for the 6th and final time.
Oh, man.
And also the Farberson's house. When Nina gets to the ground, she sees her dad and Chuck are with the police, but then she passes out.
At first, I was like, why are you passing out? But then I remembered, like, everything that she has been through, and I was like, yeah, I probably would have passed out a while ago.
Fair.
In chapter 26, Dina comes to and she tells the police everything.
Again.
The police tell her that they'd been watching Farberson for some time, and Chuck volunteered to stay in jail for a few extra days so Farberson wouldn't know the police.
Oh, no, Chuck did not volunteer.
I thought he volunteered.
No, it was very specific. The dad volunteered because he said it would help Chuck learn a lesson. And that really struck me as, ooh, that's some rough parenting. Although I can't necessarily say I blame him, given all the trouble Chuck's been in that got him to this place.
Okay.
But Chuck seems really forgiving of it, which surprised me.
Okay, so Chuck's dad is bringing in some tough love here.
Yes.
Farberson is taken away on a stretcher with his next stop being a trial. Dina asks how the police knew she and Jade were there, and Chuck says he tried to tell their dad where Dina was going, but the lines were down, so he called Detective Fraser with a false confession to get Fraser to go to Fear Street. Jade jokes that Chuck unintentionally made another prank phone call.
Yeah, the Fraser wouldn't believe it's a confession, but I guess he would be that. I mean, at that point, I would think of Fraser, yeah, I'm not interrupting my dinner for this. I know he's lying, so whatever he has can wait.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, for the record, I think the book should have ended at chapter 26. I think that was the perfect wrap up in a bow sentence to end it because I didn't chapter 27, before I give my full comments. It's Monday at school, and Chuck, Dina, and Jade are being treated like local heroes, especially by classmates Corey Brooks and Delia O'Connor, from the Overnight Club. I was like, that name sounds really familiar. I just can remember which story was. So Lisa Bloom asks Dina for that interview that she promised her. Sorry, the inside scoop that she originally said. But she steers Lisa over to Chuck, who is more than happy to answer questions. He's also holding hands with Jade. Rob Morrell comes by and invites the three of them over to watch movies. Dina accepts, but Jade says she might be too busy, and she'll call Dina to let her know. But Dina says, I want to take a break from phone calls. How about you send me a postcard instead? The end.
Yeah, the whole I might be too busy with the homework. At first I was like, that's a pointless thing. Why did they include that? But they did it just to set up, like, I'll give you a call so that she can say I'm done with phone calls.
Yeah.
That was so clunky and clumsy.
It could have even just been like, I don't know if I'll have the car to drive to get there or something. Can I call you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Yohe, you specifically asked us to be a part of this book. Why this book? What did you like about it?
So what's funny is I can remember this. I read the wrong number 2 first.
Because I haven't read it.
Because it was the only one I had access to it was probably 4th grade, maybe 5th grade. It was right around that time.
What did you like about it?
I liked that, as bumbling as everybody was, I did really like the pal friendship of Dina and Jade as they're like slowly putting together this mystery and like figure things out. So I did like that, and I did also like the who doesn't like a good old the villain comes out with a chainsaw and starts to cut their tree down.
That's funny you mentioned that. I'll get to it. Go ahead.
The other part is just like I don't remember there being so much like violence on older, because not to spoil too much, but it typically reads as like the villains happen to be like a classmate or a stranger roughly around their age, but this whole bit of it being like an older man beating on these 2 high school girls was like a very like shocking to me, like R.L. Stine, okay, that's a choice, but like it also evokes a more scary image of like this big hulking guy.
Yeah. Olivia, what did you like about it?
I mean, once I got past the mean girl aspects, and you can forgive some of that for the age of the characters, I did like the friendship. I did prefer Jade over Dina because I liked that she, at the beginning, then Dina did start to take agency, which I appreciated because for a while she was just so along for the ride. I was getting very frustrated with her. Yeah, those are the things I liked.
Okay. I liked the plot calling a random person just as they're being murdered and then using what is now considered like antiquated investigative tools, the phone book, to solve a murder, that was pretty great. I thought the ending was chaotic, especially the chainsaw part.
It was.
What didn't you like about it, Yohe?
I wished this is too well. There's going to be some obvious things, but I'm going to go for the slightly less obvious. I really wish there would have been something a little more tongue in cheek, where like they used a phone to fight him off, or like a phone book to like defend themselves against something.
So
Even cool.
That would have been cool.
Would have been great. A little extra. I mean, I know that the penultimate chapter did have the like wrap it in a bow of being like, you do realize you just saved the day by doing the thing that got us in this mess in the first place. So I can appreciate
Or if he had him trapped, he's like, I got your number, bitch. And she's like, you got the wrong number.
It's like I'm in a room full of writers.
what I didn't like was all of the plot holes. Tons of things that it's suspending the reality.
Olivia, what didn't you like about it?
The cutscenes, the like perspective of the sinister character, because they were used effectively to implicate Chuck early on, but then Chuck wasn't ring consistently anyway. And once you got about halfway, not even halfway through, they just dropped them abruptly. Once they're like, oh, this isn't going to implicate Chuck anymore, we're just doing away with them without paying it off. And I felt like there were a lot of things in this that just, they teased something and then didn't pay off. And that's frustrating to me. Yeah. Nakuisa.
And this, I think, is going to be a common theme throughout this entire podcast. It's the Shady Side PD being absolutely useless. This was a somewhat police procedural book, and they just flubbed it all over. When I was reading it, I remembered one of my friends from when I was in my 20s. She's a hardcore feminist, and she like basically taught me how to be a feminist. And I had to ask her, like, how do you get through the day? Like, how do you watch TV and, like, enjoy it? And she's like, you just have to turn your brain off for 30 minutes if you want to enjoy TV. And I think I'm just going to have to turn my brain off for however many hours it takes me to read these damn books.
You're still committed to doing the whole series, right?
I am.
Okay, great.
I am.
Great.
We will be reading these until I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
I did the math. Yeah. So.
Whoa, that's even older than Mr. Farmer said.
I know. Okay, Yohe, your 6-year-old self, what would you rate this? Or I guess 10, since that's when you've read it. What rating would you give?
I would have ranked this as a pretty high one. I would say at least a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Not like a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Wasn't quite perfect, but like enough of it had like it evoked like the horror aspects, the threatening phone calls, the chainsaw, everything. Yeah, that absolutely would have been a 4.5.
Okay, as an adult.
As an adult, I won't be as generous, but I'll still give it about like a 3.75.
Okay.
Almost a 4.
No, 3.76. Okay, not quite that good.
Olivia.
As a child, I think I would have ranked this higher. I would have seen past the police incompetence. I would have been excited about the agency the girls took and solving, and so 4 out of 5 seems reasonable as a child perspective. As an adult, I can't go higher than a 2 out of 5. The plot holes in the writing and the inconsistencies are just, I enjoyed the 2 hours I spent reading it. And I enjoyed the hour and a half we spent talking about it, at least as much, if not more. But no, not good. It's not well written. And I feel bad saying that because in general, I've always thought of him as a good writer. Maybe I'll change that opinion as we go through the series. And he was, I just noticed on the About the Author page, at this point, he was also the head writer of Eureka's Castle at the moment.
I like that show.
Yeah.
I remembered, I haven't watched it since I was like 7, but I remembered thinking it was good at the time. Now I don't know if I go back, or maybe he was just spread too thin if he was writing this and doing that and doing other things.
Yeah. Allegedly, there's only one Fear Street book where there was a ghost writer. I can't remember the title offhand.
Tuffy.
Chuck
and Tuffy wrote it. Yeah. Next podcast, I will have the title. But for me, as a child, I would have rated this a 3 out of 5. I think my aspiring lesbian self would have been really upset that Jade and Dina didn't get together. As an adult, I give it a gentleman's 2 out of 5 because of all the plot holes and the
So we're on
and the
same
bullies.
page.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Yohe, for joining us. I hope you had a great time walking down Fear Street with us.
did. Fear Street Memory Lane.
You're the first male host of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
First male voice on the podcast.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So our next episode, we'll be discussing Fear Street book number 6, The Sleepwalker.